small shop owner has bought in the Santa or in any Raitu Bazaar.
एक ही जगह पे मिलके those type of plastics are known as thermosetting plastics. Comparison, there are 3 types:
up, down, right, left.
I am not inferior to anyone.
We are SCERT. We are top on the Everest. Congratulations.
I want to be a leader.
Good evening, children. Welcome for this evening session about the study of motion for 8th, 9th and 10th standard children. So, why the sky is blue? Why the water drop is in spherical shape? Some ants, small insects walks on the surface of the water. What is the reason for it? But ourselves as a human being, we are unable to walk on the surface of water or anything. Okay. These are the different questions arises in our mind. These are the different phenomena also. When the rain and sunshine come together, a rainbow will form. There a water droplet on the leaf will act as a prism and it forms the scattering of light which gives a rainbow. What is the reason? And so many innovations in the science. Now we are using 4th generation cell phones, iPhones, Android support softwares, satellites. Recently you practiced how to use the robotics, all these things. In all these things, so much information, science was involved. I want to share all these things with you, and all are very interesting, correct? See, we know we are very enjoying about sunrise, sunset, seasons, different seasons. Now it is rainy season, later we are going to get winter season. These are the different seasons. How the climate change, how the season change from one stage to another stage. What is the reason? When you travel in a bus, when you observe those things through the window surroundings, there are trees, shops, so many things. Actually, they does not move, but what is our observation? What is our perception? We feel that they are moving. We feel that we are at rest in the bus. Am I correct or not? We have the same phenomena. Even you travel in a train. Is it correct? What is the reason behind it? When you make a top into speed, high speed, when it attains maximum velocity, it seems to be at rest. Is it exactly at rest? No. After some time, when it loses its velocity, simply it is moving in a spiral way, at last it fall down. What is the reason behind it? Are you want to know all these things? So, if you want to know all these things, we have to know the very, very important concept in physics, that is kinematics, the study of motion. So, today we are going to learn the study of motion for 8th, 9th and 10th standards. Okay. I am using the word motion. Before going to know about motion, I want to ask a small question. Here I draw one line. Is it a longest one or shortest one? Can you say? You can't say anything. If I draw one more line like this, now when you compare it, this is the shorter one and this is the longer one. If I draw one more line here, when you compare these two with respect to this line, this is the longer line, shorter, longer. Okay. So, these are the relative words. We can compare with one and another, then only we can say it is a long or short. For example, you are traveling on a car. So, driver driving the car, a passenger is also there. Of course, let us take a taxi. So, or cab. So, two observers are there at on road, they are observing. What is their feeling? So, car is moving, along the car the passengers and the driver also moving. So, that is the perception of the observers, am I correct? Okay. With respect to cab driver, what is the position of the passengers? Himself he feels the passengers sat very freely, they are at rest. With respect to the observers, so the passengers are in motion, but with respect to cab driver who are travelling with among them, so they are at rest. So, it differs from one situation to another situation, comparisons. So, that is called relativity. మీ అందరికీ తెలుసు మోషన్ అనేటువంటిది రెస్ట్ అనేటువంటి రెండు రిలేటివ్ వర్డ్స్. సో, జస్ట్ కంపారిజన్ అనేటువంటిది చాలా అవసరం. మనం ఏదైనా ఒక ట్రైన్లో ట్రావెల్ చేస్తున్నాం అనుకోండి, ఆ ట్రైన్లో ట్రావెల్ చేస్తున్నప్పుడు జనరల్గా మనం ఫీల్ అయ్యేది ఏంటి, ట్రైన్ యొక్క విండోలు. అందుకే చాలామంది మీరు చూడండి విండో సీట్ కావాలి అనుకుంటూ ఉంటారు కదా, ఆ విండో సీట్ దగ్గర కూర్చొని సరౌండింగ్స్ అన్నిటినీ అబ్జర్వ్ చేస్తూ ఉంటారు. మరి ఇలా సరౌండింగ్స్ అబ్జర్వ్ చేస్తున్నప్పుడు యాక్చువల్గా అక్కడ కొండలు కనబడతాయి, చెట్లు కనబడతాయి, చాలా డిఫరెంట్ థింగ్స్ కనబడతాయి. యాక్చువల్లీ దే ఆర్ అట్ రెస్ట్, బట్ అవర్ సెల్వ్స్ వీ ఫీల్ దట్ దే ఆర్ ఇన్ మోషన్ అండ్ వీ ఆర్ అట్ రెస్ట్. Even I will give a small example, small thing which everyone feels this experience means. See, when you observe the moon, so when you are free at evening, a very calm and cool evening, you are walking on the road, when you observe that moon, so it is over your head. When you are walking, what is your perception? The moon also coming with you, am I correct or not? It is a relative motion. So, you can say so many examples about the relative motion. Okay, I will give one more example to you. So, you are traveling again I am saying in a train. In opposite direction one more train is coming. So, what is your perception at the time? If you see that, you feel that that train is more faster than you. Am I correct? Are you get the experience of this? So, generally we had this experience. So, what will happen? We have to know, that is a very important. In this concept you are going to learn so many words like distance, displacement, velocity, speed, average velocity, instant velocity, okay, like acceleration, uniform acceleration, like we are using different words. As a science student, we have to know the perfect concept about these words. These are generally we call it as keywords, which are very important. Once you understand the keywords, you can narrate the concept, you can understand the concept and you can apply the concept with the other things. So, children, it is very important. First you have to recognize the keywords, that is very important. Okay. So, first I am saying about the relativity, means your comparison. When you compare, that is one. So, when you compare with one and another, then only we can say that kind of properties. Cool, hot. How we are going to say cool and hot? Just by the comparison. Later we can say with the different instrument measurements we can call it. Am I correct? Okay. For example, just observe this is so measuring motion. So, I am giving the very important concept of that. The study kinematics requires the measurement of three properties of motion. The first one is displacement. So, displacement is the straight line distance between 2 points, it is a vector quantity. Velocity, the change in displacement with respect to time, it is also vector quantity. and the third one acceleration, the change in the velocity with respect to time, it is also vector quantity. The term distance like displacement refers to the change in position between 2 points, but not in a straight line. Distance is a scalar quantity, speed refers to change in position with respect to time, but unlike velocity does not require straight line motion, speed is a scalar quantity. See, like these are the things which are given in the textbook. So, first, by hearting the definitions of the terms, it is not correct. So, what I am going to say here, so first you have to understand each and every concept, each and every term. So, here I am giving that measuring of motion, which is very important, it concerned with the 3 important statements, important words called as displacement, velocity and acceleration. Okay. So, for example, so if you want to see this about the kinematics, so first I am giving to 2 words. Actually, this concepts belongs to one of the branch of science, physical science, call it as kinematics. And we have another branch like the same which deals the motion, call it as dynamics. And kinematics and dynamics together we call it as mechanics. Mechanics is one branch of physical science, clear. So, the motion comes under the kinematics. So, today we are going to deal the kinematics. So, first before going to that, you have to understand what is kinematics. Kinematics deals with the concepts that are needed to describe motion. What kind of motion it is, whether it is a linear motion, whether it is an oscillatory motion, whether it is a circular motion. So, it describes the kind of motion. And the dynamics. Dynamics deals with the effect that forces have on motion. So, the major difference between a kinematics and dynamics is in the absence of external force, if you study the motion of a body, you call it as kinematics. In the presence of force, if you study the motion of a body, it is called dynamics. See, we are able to stand on a floor, there is a frictional force between our foot and the ground. If there is no frictional force, simply we will fall down. So, that is the external force. So, if you want to walk on the ground, means you have to overcome 2, one is the gravitational force and the second one is the frictional force. When you include these 2 also in the study of that motion, that concept deals with, simply we call it as dynamics, clear? Okay. If you simply just describe the motion, we call it as a kinematics. Togetherly we call it as the kinematics and dynamics as mechanics. So, here we are going to learn about kinematics, clear. So, the motion here, the study of motion of an object without regard to the cause of the motion is called kinematics. Once again I am saying this. So, here if you not consider the cause of the motion, means whether the external force is applied or the internal force is applied. So, if you are not considered those things, simply such kind of study we call it as kinematics. So, today we are learning about the kinematics, clear. Okay. For example, a point A is here, a person started here and moving like in a curved path, he ended here, means he reached the destination B. Okay. So, here that if you consider the total length of this curved path completely, we call it as this one as a distance. Here only the length of the path, when you consider it, that is called distance. Okay. If you consider the direction also, in which direction you traveled, whether in east or west or north or south, which direction, if it says the specific direction also, then we call it as that one as a displacement. If you want to know the displacement, generally those 2 endpoints of the path, will be connected by a straight line. When you connect it with a straight line, then the distance between, of course, the length of this straight line segment, we call it as displacement. Clear? This is the difference between a distance and a displacement. So, can you say what is displacement in a universe? Simple words: the shortest distance between the two endpoints of the path of the travel or motion is called simply displacement. So, can you write, any kind of questions arises in your mind? You can say that if the body is traveling in a linear path, in a straight line path, then there is no difference between displacement and distance. When it is traveling in the curved path, then the distance is more than displacement. So, can you narrate a relation between a distance and displacement? Anyone, can you narrate it? Just to see it. We can say distance by displacement, is always greater than or equal to 1. This is the most important relation. Distance by displacement is always greater than or equal to 1. Am I correct? When the body is curved, traveling in a curved path, then the distance is more than the displacement, means the numerator is more than the denominator, means it is an improper fraction which is more than 1. When it is in straight line path, when it is moving in a straight line path, simply we call it as this one. Of course, that is the distance and displacement both are same, means both the numerator and denominator both are same, means the fraction value will be equal to 1. So, the distance by displacement is always greater than or equal to 1. It is a very important relation, you have to keep in mind. Why? When it is more than 1, when it is equal to 1. Okay. So, for example, you have some work, just you want to visit Araku at Visakhapatnam. So, here the distance from Hyderabad in near Araku is nearly around 780 kilometers something, I think so. So, you travel here, so just you travel by the way by car, for example. So, you started from Hyderabad and you stayed at Vijayawada and you moved from that place to Vizag and again from Vizag to Vijayawada, Vijayawada to Hyderabad. Finally, you reached your place. What is the distance travelled by you? Here what I said 780 kilometers. So, here for example, if you say this is Hyderabad and this one is Vijayawada and this one is Vizag, of course. So, here you started from Hyderabad and via Vijayawada you reached Vizag and again you moved from Vizag and so the same way, of course, and another way that like including Vijayawada. Finally, what is the distance here? 780 plus 780, which is 1560 kilometers. This is the distance travelled by you, but the displacement becomes 0. What is the reason? When you add these 2 points here, final point, initial point and in final point both are same, when initial point and final point both are same, then the displacement becomes 0. So, how you can say, how you generalize these things? When a body is moving in a circular path, when it complete one rotation, then the displacement is 0. For example, if the body is moving in a circular path of r radius, then if it complete one rotation, then what is the distance travelled by that body? Means here simply it is 2 pi r, which is the circumference of the circle, 2 pi r. And what is the displacement? Displacement is 0. Clear? This is why I am saying when number of times, means here when I talk with one of the person, so who is leading person for robotics, they said, sir, we are using all physics concepts in robotics, sir. So, for example, I want to ask one robot to just pick up the one glass of water and move from here to there 10 meters. So, if you want, so the robot means here there are wheels. So, the wheel can rotate 10 meters distance, means here you have to calculate for one rotation how much distance it travels. So, that kind of knowledge is required. So, we have to understand it. So, what the distance travelled by a body when in one rotation, clear. Okay. There are another kind of motion is also there. We call it a simple harmonic motion. You are going to learn that when in a further classes. So, because simple, are you find any simple harmonic motion anywhere? Just see the wall clock. The wall clock is moving, of course, the pendulum moving from one place to another place. Of course, just move one end to another end. Is called oscillatory motion or simple harmonic motion, that is the difference. So, we are stick on only the linear motion. So, in the linear motion, the first word you are saying that distance and displacement, clear. Are you understand the difference between and relation between these two? Distance is a scalar. Here I am using the word scalar. Scalar means it is a physical quantity which needs only the magnitude. Here the direction is not necessary, specific direction is not necessary. That is the reason when you travel on in a bike or a car, there is a meter which gives speed, that is called speedometer, not velocimeter. Are you understand? The reason is simply it measures the speed, not the velocity. Okay. Before going to that speed and velocity, what I am going to say that, so here this here distance and displacement, before going to that you have to know that word is called scalar. Scalar means here it is a physical quantity which requires only magnitude, but not the direction, clear. Okay. Means previously here, is there any direction? See, just when body moves like here, the direction continuously changes. It does not need any kind of direction. Okay, but when you want to say the displacement, you have to say the specific direction. So, here a physical quantity which requires both magnitude and the direction, we call it as simply vector. So, we can classify these two things here, vector and a scalar. A scalar is a physical quantity which requires only magnitude, and vector is a physical quantity which requires magnitude and direction, clear. So, see that so now we are coming to that if I ask it to you, just you have to, when I am going to explain these things, children please take your notebooks and immediately you have to write what you understand it. For example, if I pose the question to you, write the differences between distance and displacement, or compare and contrast between the different between displacement distance. If I ask the question to you, for example, how you are going to write? There are 2 points you can write simply. What are the 2 points? First, you can say distance is a scalar, displacement is a velocity, clear? Okay. And distance, okay, and if you say this is another one, you can say generally we can represent the distance if for a linear path and a curved path, but we can represent displacement only in linear paths. If it is a curved path, we will take the two ends of the curved path and we will connect it with a line segment, we will measure it, clear. And what is the relation between these two? It is very clear. I said the distance by displacement is always greater than or equal to 1. This is the difference and the relation between distance and displacement. Okay. For example, if I ask one question to you, so give some examples when the displacement of a body becomes 0 and when the displacement of a body equal to a distance and when the displacement of a body is less than the distance. If I pose these 3 questions to you, children, are you understand? ఎప్పుడు మీకు డిస్టెన్స్ డిస్ప్లేస్మెంట్ ఈక్వల్ అవుతుంది, ఎప్పుడు డిస్టెన్స్ అనేటువంటి డిస్ప్లేస్మెంట్ కంటే ఎక్కువ ఉంటుంది, అదర్వైజ్ ఎప్పుడు డిస్ప్లేస్మెంట్ జీరో అవుతుంది. దీస్ ఆర్ ద 3 questions I posed to you, just you have to answer. Clear? So, once you are able to answer these 3 questions, then I hope you understand the distance and displacement. Is it clear? All the children, I hope that you are very clear about distance and displacement. Now, I am coming to the next one, is a very important one, we call it as speed. Now, you are using the speed of a vehicle, speed of an object. Okay. So, for example, if you want to know about speed, so how you are going to say speed? Let us take a look of this one here. See, I am giving one more example here. There is a lake and on both sides A and B are 2 points. So, just when you join A and B, see your distance travel from A to B is that one. So, speed is distance travel from A to B, and when you divide with the time, that is called speed. Clear? Means so when you join A and B with a line segment, just now like I showed on the board, like this one is that one is called as displacement from A to B. So, velocity is displacement from A to B by time. Okay. That is the difference between speed and velocity. Both are represent the same phenomena, same concept, but with a slight difference. Speed is a scalar and velocity is a vector. Why I said directly speed is a scalar and velocity is a vector? Anyone, can you say what is the reason? And speed, how you are going to define it? How you are explain the speed? It is a rate of change of distance by time. Simply, distance is a scalar, obviously speed is a scalar. And we said velocity is a vector. Why velocity is a vector? What is velocity? Rate of change of displacement, or you can say simply displacement by time. So, displacement is a vector. So, obviously, its product is also vector, that is velocity is a vector. Is it clear? Speed and velocity. Of course, the units are same. So, for example, if I want to say about the speed, so speed is simply is a distance by time, correct? So, distance, units of distance is meters and time for second. So, simply you can write meter per second, or if you say kilometers and hours, then we call it as kmph, kilometer per hour. Generally, we measure the speed of the vehicle as kilometer per hour. 40 kilometers per hour is a correct one, which gives more fuel efficiency. If you get more fuel efficiency, generally they will indicate that with a green sign as you drive between 40 kilometers per hour to 50 kilometers per hour, which gives the more mileage. Am I correct? So, that is there we use the 40 kilometers per hour. And the fastest train, bullet train, generally in China bullet trains are going to be launched recently, that is more than 300 kilometers per hour. See, so like if you want to say the speed of those things, generally we will use it as a meter per second or kilometers per hour. Is it clear? So, once again, so speed, now I am coming to the next one is velocity and acceleration. Okay. So, if you want to know before that velocity and acceleration, I want to give some information. The object's motion may move at a constant velocity over equal displacements and equal times, or be accelerated over increasing or decreasing displacement equal times. Here I am using one word, call it as equal displacement in equal times. Okay, or be accelerator, means here when a body is moving in equal time intervals and equal distance.